Hello everyone. Today let's listen to me about the 7 notorious pirates. So there was this guy, Blackbeard, right? Picture this. About 6'5" of grumpy pirate, with a beard so epic it had its own fan club, mostly terrified sailors. He'd even braid it. In his fashion sense, strictly long black coat chic, accessorized with more pointy things, daggers, pistols, than a porcupine convention. Now, this dude wanted to look extra scary. His pro tip? Light those slow-burning fuses in his beard and hat? Imagine trying to have a serious negotiation when the other guy looks like a walking firework. No wonder people handed over their loot so quickly. His career in maritime acquisitions, aka stealing, kicked off in the spring of 1716 with his 70-ish mates. They went on a little shopping spree, liberating 8 merchant ships along the American East Coast. Talk about a hostile takeover. Then came his prized possession, a French ship called La Concorde. Blackbeard, ever the redecorator, renamed it the Queen Anne's Revenge and slapped 40 cannons on it. Because when you're redecorating, you might as well go big, right? He even pulled off this hilarious, for him, not so much for the locals, stunt in Charleston. Blocked the harbor with 4 ships, then just casually robbed 9 more over a few days, including one with Charleston's VIPs. Held them ransom. You got to admire the audacity. But alas, even the most dramatically bearded pirates have their off days. The governor of Virginia sent the Navy after him. Cue the slapstick sword fight on the 22nd of November, 1718. Blackbeard fought like a honey badger in a blender, but eventually, 25 stabs and 5 bullet holes later, it was curtains. They chopped off his head, bit harsh really, and hung it on their ship. Body overboard. Talk about a bad hair day, permanently. Despite his short but explosive career, Blackbeard managed to rearrange the finances of over 40 ships. Not bad for a guy with a perpetually smoky beard. Meet Ned Low, who basically won the Most Likely to Give You Nightmares award in pirate history. This guy wasn't just a bad egg, he was the whole rotten omelet. His origin story? Pretty humble, actually. Started as a petty thief in London, then tried his hand at carpentry in Boston. Apparently, hammering nails just wasn't cutting it for Ned after his wife passed. So, naturally, the next logical career move was piracy in 1722. You know, for a change of pace. Now, when it came to customer service, Ned's motto was less "have a nice day" and more "prepare to lose an ear." He and his crew were famous for their extreme enthusiasm in dealing with victims. Torture, dismemberment, the usual pirate party tricks. Word has it, Ned enjoyed giving captains impromptu ear, nose, and lip reductions. And, for the grand finale, tying a captain to the mast for a little target practice with a cannon. Charming, right? His piratical adventure only lasted about 2 years, but in that short time, Ned and his buddies managed to borrow, permanently, over 100 ships. He mostly hung out in the Atlantic, targeting ships off the American coast and the Caribbean. Think of it as a very aggressive form of sightseeing. His ride of choice? A speedy sloop called the Fancy, pimped out with 10 cannons. Because when you're in the acquire business, speed and a little firepower really help with negotiations. The grand mystery of Ned's fate? Well, it's a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure. Some say his own crew had enough of his charm and marooned him. Others whisper that the French caught him and gave him a lovely necktie party in Martinique. Spoiler alert, the necktie was a noose. So yeah, Ned Low. Not exactly the life of the pirate party, more like the guy who showed up and made everyone else feel awkward. His reputation for being utterly terrifying, totally earned. So, picture this. Henry Every, also known as Long Ben, because, pirates love nicknames, started his career on the high seas with the Royal Navy. Fancy, right? Then he dabbled in the slave trade. But hey, everyone needs a job, right? Things got interesting when he and his crew realized they weren't getting paid. Talk about a bad day at the office. So, naturally, they decided to take matters into their own hands by becoming pirates, because that's a totally reasonable career change. In September 1695, Every led a group of over 440 guys, talk about a crowded ship, in a raid against the Gonisaway. The result? A loot worth about $143 million in today's money. Not bad for a day's work. You could say they hit the jackpot. After that, Every and his crew decided to play hide-and-seek with the entire world. They split up to avoid getting caught, leading to a worldwide manhunt. But guess what? Every was like a ninja. No one could find him. Rumors popped up everywhere. Maybe he was in Ireland, maybe Brazil. The guy was a legend. We still don't know what happened to him. Maybe he retired on a tropical island, sipping cocktails and counting his millions. Maybe he opened a pirate-themed amusement park. The possibilities are endless. Charles Vane. Picture a pirate with a serious case of the Mondays every day. This guy was known for his explosive temper and a shoot-first, ask-never policy. Basically, if you looked at him funny, you might end up swimming with the fishes. His pirate debut happened in 1718 in the Caribbean. He quickly made a name for himself by being super bold and super, well, stabby. Think of him as the grumpy old man of the pirate world, but with more cannons. Captain Vane helmed a few ships, including a snazzy sloop called the Ranger. You know, for those quick getaways after a bit of reappropriation. Now, there was this one time he had a little disagreement with Governor Woodes Rogers in Nassau. Rogers, bless his heart, came to spoil the pirate party. But Vane? He just lit a captured French ship on fire and sailed it right at Rogers' fleet. Talk about a dramatic exit. He basically moonwalked out of there in a giant fireball. Smooth. Later on, his own crew decided he wasn't piratey enough. Apparently, even pirates have standards. And, under the influence of one Calico Jack Rackham, they staged a mutiny. Ouch. Talk about getting voted off the island. Or ship, in this case. The grand finale for our fiery friend? He got shipwrecked on a deserted island in 1720. Irony? Much? Eventually they found him, dragged him to Spanish Town, Jamaica, and gave him a lovely necktie party courtesy of the hangman. So much for the swashbuckling life. Despite his relatively short career, Charles Vane proved that being consistently angry and blowing things up can definitely leave a lasting and slightly singed impression. So, there was this guy, Stede Bonnet, also known as the Gentleman Pirate. I mean, how many pirates do you know who started out as a wealthy landowner? Talk about a career change. Apparently, Steve was going through a bit of a midlife crisis. He decided that what his life really needed was more piracy. He bought a ship, hired a crew, and set sail. Because when you're bored with the mundane, nothing spices things up like plundering and pillaging. Now, here's the funny part. Steve knew absolutely nothing about sailing. Like, zero. Imagine trying to rob a bank when you don't know how to drive the getaway car. It was a recipe for disaster, and a lot of confused looks from other pirates. He teamed up with Blackbeard for a while, which must have been an interesting dynamic. The sophisticated gentleman and the terrifying beard monster. Talk about an odd couple. Unfortunately, Steve's piratical adventure didn't last long. He got caught, and they gave him a good old-fashioned hanging. So much for the gentlemanly life of crime. All right, let's talk about Black Bart, or Bartholomew Roberts, for those of you who like using his full name. He probably didn't. This guy was like the rock star of pirates. I mean, over 400 ships? That's more than some small navies. His career in maritime borrowing started when he was, shall we say, convinced to join a pirate crew. You know, that friendly peer pressure thing. Turns out he was pretty good at the whole swashbuckling thing. Black Bart was known for his strict rules. No gambling, because pirates are obviously responsible with their loot. No fighting amongst the crew, save it for the folks they were robbing. And even mandatory church services on Sundays. Talk about a well-organized bunch of lawbreakers. He also had a flair for the dramatic. Apparently, he went into battle wearing fancy red coats. Because if you're going to steal someone's gold, you might as well do it in style. Despite his success, Black Bart's career ended rather abruptly when a Royal Navy ship caught up to him. He reportedly died in the middle of a fight. So much for a glamorous exit. Ah, Captain Kidd. Now, this guy's story is a bit of a wait, that's it kind of tale. He started out as a privateer. You know, one of the good guys, sort of, hired to hunt pirates. Then, things got a little blurry. Apparently, Captain Kidd wasn't exactly a natural at the whole piracy thing. He was more of a bumbling his way through the high seas kind of pirate. The video mentions he was known for being foolish and treating his crew badly. Not exactly the recipe for a successful villain, is it? There's this one part where he apparently slapped his own cheek at a Navy yacht. You can just picture it. A moment of pure, unadulterated, oops, did I do that? On the high seas. Despite not being the most competent of pirates, Captain Kidd ended up getting the full pirate treatment. He was hanged for piracy and murder. Talk about a harsh review of your career choices. So, yeah, Captain Kidd. More of a cautionary tale about how not to do piracy, really.